Ever wondered why your rental isn't getting any showings? It's not because of a saturated market. There are so many aspects to marketing a rental correctly, and most agents and most landlords are doing it wrong. In this video, I'd like to explain to you my marketing strategy and my negotiation with the landlord in order to get a fast fill and find a tenant that might stay for a couple more years. So the first thing when agents meet with a landlord is negotiating the commission. And here in North Texas, we usually ask for 1 month rent. And please understand that when a real estate agent is working with rentals, it's pretty much the same amount of work than putting a regular listing on the market where they can make at least 2 or 3% of the sales price. When you do with rentals, the same amount of work needs to go in it, and you only make 1 month rent, or you share that commission with the agent who brings the tenant. So if you are a landlord and your strategy is to find the cheapest agent, you start out wrong, because what gets cut out first is the marketing budget. So number one, you have to find an agent who's asking a fair price for the services, and also interview that agent or interview several agents and ask the marketing strategy. Look at how many rentals they have done, how fast they fill the vacancies, and how the actual marketing looked online. Because taking cell phone photos for a listing on a rental is not a marketing strategy. Make sure you pay your agent right and that agent has a plan. And here is my plan. My name is Andika Duncan. I'm a real estate broker and property manager here in Princeton, Texas, and I'm serving Collin County. I am also a professional real estate photographer, which actually gives me an edge compared to other agents, because they do have to pay for professional photos where I am the provider. When I work with landlords, I always provide professional photos. I do virtual staging if the home is vacant, and most likely we would like to photograph a home vacant, because those pictures can work year after year if you have to relist. I do virtual staging, and I also have a budget for online marketing. So when I take the pictures and I upload the pictures to the MLS, I do MLS listings. Many property management companies or agents don't, because as I said, the commission is so small, 1 month rent, which to you, the landlord, it's a lot. But to us, for the same work as selling a house, it's kind of small. So they are hoping that they are the ones who can find a tenant, and that way they can keep both sides of the commission if there is a compensation offered to the buyer's agent or the tenant's agent in that case. So I do list my listing on the MLS. And what is the MLS? Is the multiple listing service. This is a database where we put all the information of the property, the terms of the rental, the pictures, the description of the house and the neighborhood and the amenities. And then it will get broadcasted to all the other real estate websites. So wherever tenants are looking for a rental, they can find it. But I also do additional marketing. I pay for premium listings on Zillow, and some agents do. It comes out of our commission. It's not the landlord who's paying for that. And currently it's $40. It used to be $30. Now it's $40. And then I also boost paid ads, because there are tenants looking everywhere and we want to be everywhere. And I also do listings through the background check companies like RentSpree. I use RentSpree to qualify the tenant, and RentSpree also offers us agents to create a listing. And then they will also broadcast that listing with the application fee to other websites like realtor.com, apartments.com, and so forth. So you do have to put in the work to get the property available wherever tenants are looking. And when the tenants find the home, we also have to entice them to reach out for a showing or ask for an application. To recap, make sure that you pay your agent correctly and that agent has a marketing plan, because that way the tenants that are out there they will find your listing fast. What's the next step? When you find a tenant, you will have some criteria that you qualify that tenant, right? And many agents just go by what used to be basically the standard or norm, and I don't know who came up with it, and apply those rules to screen the tenant in every market. And that's wrong, because many times the market changes in the same neighborhood throughout the year, right? We have high seasons and we have low seasons, and you have to understand how the market works, and you have to know how to screen that tenant that will stay for at least another year, will renew or signs a 2-year lease, because that way you, the landlord, you don't have vacancy. Now, when you work with an agent, just a regular real estate agent, and I don't want to put bad lights onto agents, but think about the mentality. If they set the requirements really, really high, first of all, it will be hard to find the right tenant, because they are sometimes asking for qualifications in order to apply for a mortgage. So if a tenant can apply for a mortgage and they have the money, they might be wanting to buy a house instead of rent one. So the qualifications are too high. The credit score required is too high. Many tenants are tenants because they have some kind of financial problems at the moment, and they cannot buy a house. There are those that are waiting for the market or trying to time the market. Yes, there will be very well qualified tenants as well, but it's not the norm. So don't just look at a number and automatically disqualify a tenant because they don't have a 650 credit score. It's just a number. Look at the credit report and ask questions from the tenant. What happened in those scenarios? Sometimes there are mistakes on the report, and if somebody already went through the credit repair process, all of these items are removed. You would never know. So give them a chance to explain why they have late payments, why they have so many accounts open, why they have collections, and let them explain the situation, because life happens. And sometimes people have to make choices. And once you understand the reason behind the credit score, look at the actual numbers that are important. You are qualifying someone to pay you rent. And you can see in the credit report if they had, in the background check, we do run a background check, and you can see if they had no evictions. That means that that tenant had paid the rent on time, or somehow, maybe not even on time, but they were able to keep paying the rent and satisfy the lease. So that's number one. If they have student loans, to me, when I look at the student loan problem, I just automatically don't even look at it just like a medical bill. Because all of these grown-up adults, they have this loan that they borrowed money to study, and then it was put on pause. Some don't even really understand that it's back on, and it's on the report. So some of them don't know that they will have to start paying it again. And sometimes they just do not have the budget for it because now they have kids. Maybe they are not working, or you have to listen to the reason. So the loan to the government with the education, it will be taken care of. That's the government problems, not ours. So me personally, I just disregard that if everything else looks good on that report. And then the other thing that I really look at on the credit report is how much monthly debt they have. Because if they have 30, 40 credit cards open and they are all maxed out, that means that they don't have the cash flow. So now I know that I probably don't want to qualify that tenant. But if they have very low monthly payments, like a couple $100 on a few credit cards, or if they do not have a credit because they don't use credit at all, so they did not have the history of building that credit score up, you need to understand why the score is what it is. And for that, you will have to ask the right questions. Now, what really is important is that they do have the income. And on my rentals, I ask for 3 times the rent. Some agents ask for 2.5, and it depends on the price point as well. But 3 times is a pretty safe amount of income. Plus, I look at how much debt they have, and I take that out. And I'm looking at the gross income, not the net, because they will have, tax and social security, whatever is the deduction. That's okay. So I will know that if they make 3 times the rent in income and they don't have a substantial amount of monthly debt, which will be on the credit report, then I can pretty much ensure my landlord that this tenant will pay the rent on time. And then one more thing that I see, well, actually, let's talk about 2 more things that I see that makes these rentals not move fast. Your agent will charge an application fee. And we can charge any application fee because there is no rule about what we charge. We can use any service to get the report, and we can add a markup. Me personally, I don't. I use RentSpree and sometimes I use Apply Connect or Buildium to get the credit score. It gives me the same report. The client goes online, I send them a link in the email, they fill out their social security number, they pay for the report, and it comes back to me. And if the agent is charging a markup on it, I see sometimes $75 when it costs $90, but it costs $39, $49, depending on what you're asked for. There are services that are only giving you a credit report, background check, and criminal check, and RentSpree will also collect the pay stubs, the ID, which we can just ask the client to send to us. So it's, let's say, worst case scenario, $40 per adult. If you ask for $75, so there is a $35 that goes into your agent's pocket. It's maybe because the commission that was offered to that agent is not enough to pay for the time spent with these tenants and with these listings, okay? So you have to be very careful, not giving them a very low commission because they will not do anything for you. And you save, let's say, $500 on the commission to your agent, but that home will not be marketed right. The tenants will not be screened correctly, or they will not apply at all because the application fee is so high. So now your rental is sitting on the market for 2, 3, 4 months. I see it in this market here, even in my own street, okay? So make sure that the application fee is charged from the service that is actually doing it, and there is no markup. There's no reason for us to need to make money on application fees because tenants don't want to pay that. And to tell you the honest truth, just like how a buyer is pre-qualified by a lender and the buyer has a pre-approval letter going into an offer with a seller, here in the rental world, agents don't accept another application, another credit report where the tenant applied for another house. They want to charge the tenant again. So these tenants are paying application fees after another house, and sometimes 3, 4 houses. It adds up. And they just get tired and they get not approved because nobody is reading the credit report correctly. So make sure that you only charge them for the actual service and read the credit report. Ask the right questions so you can qualify that tenant and see if that tenant will be a tenant for a couple of years. Because as a landlord, that is your best interest. The agent, that is not a property manager, so the agent will not benefit at all after putting a tenant in there, except if the tenant leaves. And if you set the credit score too high, that means that in that 1 year, the tenant may be working on the credit score and the next year they move out because they want to buy a house. When you work with a property manager, we want that tenant to stay with you. My interest is the same as yours. I want to find a tenant who is not a problematic tenant, who takes care of your property and stays there so there is no vacancy. I work together with the landlord and we have the same interest. Okay? So after all of these problems that we discussed with commissions, marketing budget, application, reading the credit report, there's so many aspects to it. Some regular agents do 1 or 2 rentals in a year. Nobody wants to do them. Nobody wants to do them because it's the same amount of work and very low commission. So they will not even understand the market that well. And I can show you in my email and on my phone that listing agents where I have rentals are calling me, asking me to help them find tenants because their listing has been sitting on the market in the same street where I list at 1 in 5 days. And they're calling me to see if I have any more tenants. And if the landlord is already working with another agent, now that's your agent's job to find you a tenant. I even get phone calls from other landlords. I actually had one yesterday that is working with another agent who represented him in the purchase of the home, relisted the home for lease with the same agent, but he's been calling me. And I did not know that he did not want to use me as the listing agent on the rental. And so I've been communicating with him. I knew the time frame of when he was supposed to close. And I sent him the message that, hey, I had this rental in this street, which is actually the same street where his house is. And I told him that I listed out in 5 days. So he turned around, told his agents to talk to me because I lease out homes fast. And then he texted me back. Actually, his agent called me asking me why I'm calling his client. And I said, I don't know. I didn't know that this landlord is working with you because I've been communicating with him before the listing. I've been telling him about the market, how the process works. Those were the questions that he asked me. We did not have an agreement because the house was not his yet. So I cannot sign a listing agreement if you do not own the home yet. So sure enough, he sent me a message, the landlord, last night that he wants to talk to me today. I cannot advise him. You are already represented by another agent. I cannot give you advice. If you made that choice to go with your agent, then you will have to ask the advice from that agent. There is ethics, and if I'm not compensated, I'm not giving advice for free either. So if you want someone who has the same interest as you, and I hate to put it in this way, but this is the best way I can demonstrate to you, the landlord, that there are discrepancies, and this is our money, this is our income. So an agent might think a little bit differently than a property manager, okay? And they don't know the market that well because they don't do it every day. So if you have any rental properties in Collin County and you need someone who understands the market, who understands your goal, and who knows how to market the property fast to find a tenant that will pay on time and will possibly stay for more than 1 year, then contact me. I would love to work with you.